Hi, welcome back. This video is on stress pronunciation, which is something I mentioned during the How to Read the Dictionary video. So in this video, we're just going to talk about stress and emphasis that we put on certain syllables and certain words, which is basically what stress is. So just to refresh our memory, I'm going to open up my dictionary here. And if you remember from the How to Read the Dictionary video, my example word was pronunciation. And right here, as you can see, are the two accent marks I was talking about, the one up top and the one down at the bottom. These indicate where stress should be put or shouldn't be put. So let's talk about what each one of these means. The big one up top just says that the syllable following it is going to have the most stress in the word. So in this word, the Asian part is going to have the most stress because this thing is right behind it, the one up top. The accent mark on the bottom just says that the syllable right after it is going to have the second most stress, next in line. So in this word, the none part should be the second most, emphasized. So when we pronounce the word pronunciation, we do see that Asian has the most stress, pronunciation, and the none has the second, most stress, pronunciation. And sometimes it's like really hard to tell like where the stress is or what stress really is, but it's sort of like an innate thing. It'll, like, you can figure it out, like people are just able to tell where the highest amount of stress is and where the lowest amount is. So we're just going to talk about that with some examples. I have three common words here, and I'm not going to pronounce them because we will figure out how to do that later. But as you can see, they are very, very closely related. And now we're just going to go through each word, see how many syllables it has, and see which syllable the stress is on. There's always one syllable that's the most the most stressed. So we're going to figure out where that is in each one of these words. So let's start with the first word. We can pronounce it now. Photograph. Alright, photograph. And from what we can tell, this word has three syllables, photograph. And there is a stress or a certain level of emphasis at the beginning, which is not present in the middle or the end. Photograph. You're starting out with emphasis. So from that, we can deduce that the stress is on the faux part of the word. Faux. So the stress is on faux, photograph. The rest of it kind of like follows after. Photograph. Okay, moving on to the next word. Photographer. Photographer. And this word has four syllables. Photographer. And from what we can tell, the stress is on the ta part. Photographer. It's like the highest emphasized. Photographer. The rest of them are not as highly stressed as the ta syllable, photographer. And the final word I have here is photographic. Photographic. This word also has four syllables, but where is the stress? Listen again. Photographic. We can tell that the stress is on the graph part because that's the most highly accented. Photographic. So in this word, the stress is on the graph. And, it's pretty easy to tell, like, it's not necessarily which one's louder, but like I said, it's like something, innate. It's which one has the most stress. Photographic. So you can see that these three words are really closely related, but their stress, the highest stress syllables are different in each word, and that's really common to English words. So we're just going to look at some patterns of English words that can maybe help us figure out where we should put the stress in normal or common English words. So I'm just going to write a couple of words here. All you should know really is if a word has more than two syllables, there's always going to be one syllable that's stressed. So we've got teacher, Japan, China. Let me do one more. Demand, and etc. Literally, etc. So in each one of these words, we're just going to try and figure out where the stress is. Alright? In the word teacher, it's at the beginning again, just like with the word photograph. So it's going to be on the first syllable, teach. Teacher. Okay, the next one, Japan. It's not Japan, which is what it might look like, but it's Japan. And you can tell it stresses on the pan part of it. Next country we have here, China. China. Again, it's at the beginning. China. Next word, demand. Not demand or demand, it's demand. The stress is on the demand. And the final word, etc. Where is the stress? Etc. Etc. It's on the set. And this one has more than 2 syllables, unlike these, but still the stress is on the set. So as you can see, every word or common word has certain syllables that are stressed more than others. There is a certain point to make about this though. There are a lot of words. Let me write some examples down. I'm not going to pronounce these right now. We will see how that pans out later. Here's a couple, just some examples, that depending on where you put the stress in the word, the entire meaning of the word can change, and the entire function of the word can change as well. Start with the first one. I'm going to start with the pronunciation present. Present. When I say present, I'm putting stress on the pre. Right here. Pre. Present. And that means a gift, right? A gift, it's a noun. It's a noun. So that's the word present. But look what happens if I pronounce it with the stress on the other syllable. Present or present. It's to show something. To present something, and that's a verb. So you can see how the entire function or the part of speech of the word changes, and the entire definition of the word changes depending on where you put the stress. That's how important stress is. Present versus present. And we've got the same thing here. A contract. Let me just underline it. Contract. Where you put the stress on con is the verb, or the noun, sorry. Contract. And then we've got contract, when it's a verb. The act of contracting. Contract. And same thing here. You can have a noun, object, something, basically anything, object. And then you can have the verb, object, to object to something. So that really, these 3 words kind of highlight how stress matters and how different syllables that are stressed can totally change the meanings of certain words. So here we're gonna, right now we're gonna go through a couple of rules on stress in English words. And the first words we're gonna look at is where the stress is on the last syllable. Stress is on last syllable of a certain word. Okay. One rule is that most 2-syllable verbs this will happen in most 2-syllable verbs, that the stress will be on the last syllable, just as we saw here. Present, export, decide, begin. These are examples of words where verbs, where the syllable, or the stress syllable is the second one. Here we go. Present, export, decide, begin. So if you've got a verb that's 2 syllables, the rule that applies most of the time is to put the stress on the last syllable. So that's all for the last syllable one. The next one is stress on the penultimate syllable, which is the second from last. Stress on second from last syllable. And here we have two examples. One is words ending in IC. And I've got examples such as graphic, geographic, geologic. So I'm just going to write graphic here, such as graphic. And then, okay, the stress is not on the ick, I'm sorry. It's on the graph. It's on words ending in ick. So stress is on graphic. And then we also have words ending in SION and TION. So words ending in SION or TION, such as television. Television. It's on the second from last, television. And revelation. Again, it's on the second from last, revelation. So these are examples where the stress is on the second from last syllable. Okay? Clearing this. Okay, the next rule we have is where the stress is going to be on the antepenultimate syllable, which is basically the third from end. So stress on third from end syllable. And examples here include words ending in CY, TY, PHY, and GY. So words ending in CY, TY, PHY, and GY. Examples I have are democracy, dependability, photography, as we saw in geology. So let me write that down. Democracy. The last syllable is C, the second from last is cr, the third from last is the ma, which is where the stress is. Democracy, dependability, the stress is on the b, third from last, and photography we already saw, and geology is another one. Geology, on the geology. So that's one rule. The next rule for third from end syllables is words ending in AL. And there's a couple of words like this. Critical, fit it down here. Critical, the stress is on the crit at the beginning. Critical. And geological, stress is on the lodge. So see how in critical it's on the first, but that doesn't really matter. What we're looking for is third from the end. So it doesn't matter if it's the first one or the second one in this case. See, it's the first one in critical, it's the second one in geological, but in both cases it's the third from the end. So that's what matters, and these rules are just really simple rules governing stress in common English languages. And remember, it's really important that when you're studying a word in the dictionary that you pay attention to the accent marks. So in more complex words, you can figure out where the stress goes and how to correctly emphasize syllables in certain words. So thank you.